Joel Skousen of worldaffairsbrief.com is our guest right now. We're taking phone calls on this Friday edition. Lord willing, I'll be back this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. And there's InfoWars Nightly News, of course, 7 o'clock weeknights. We thank you all for your support and spreading the word. Ray in Illinois, he says he's a city council member. He wants to know what's next for the USA. Go ahead, Ray.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Joel. I've been a council member here for the past 3 years, and I actually got involved into doing this because of Alex and people like Alex and George and a few other like-minded people. And I want to say thank you for getting me involved, and I just hope that other people will get off the couch and instead of just complaining about what's going on, get involved some way or somehow. But, Joel, my question is, you talked about the timetable. What would happen, how significantly would that timetable go forward if an EMP pulse or a solar flare would hit North America like they've been talking about and wiping out our grid and our defenses going down? Would China and Russia say, hey, let's do it now instead of waiting, or what do you think about that?
Well, you know, that's a scenario that's been prognosticated by several people. Here's why I don't believe that an EMP will ever strike separate from an actual physical nuclear strike. One thing an EMP doesn't do, and let me just tell you about the technology of an EMP. The latest data from the U.S. government and others is that it takes about 6 high-altitude nuclear weapons to blanket the whole U.S. to take down the whole grid in a very serious way, not just one. And so there's been a lot of hype about Iran sending a whole fleet of ships over towards our coast and that they're going to launch a missile off that. Just not technically very feasible to do that. It takes more than one missile. And even if it did happen, an EMP strike doesn't take out the military because it's been hardened. And so the military would know where it came from. They'd be able to retaliate so it doesn't achieve the purposes of either Russia and China or even a rogue state, you know, as if Iran would do that, which I don't believe they would. And so...
Sure, if they're going to do that, just smuggle a nuke into Manhattan and detonate it.
That's right. I mean, if you want to just make a show and get your country retaliated against, I mean, if you want to do something suicidal, there are easier ways to do that than to try to do it with a missile on a ship coming into. But I just don't think that's going to happen. It really is more technical than people think to throw a high-altitude nuclear weapon up there, and it's got to be...
Well, in the 60s, the Pentagon detonated big hydrogen bombs in the atmosphere, and it did knock out power, but they found it was sporadic through the atmosphere.
That's right. It is sporadic. It takes about 6 to blanket the whole U.S., and even then, as I say, it doesn't take down the military because they're hardened.
Now, a sun EMP could actually hit the whole country, the equivalent of big flare. Why is there so much military-industrial complex hype? We get hit by guests constantly wanting to come on about EMP.
Well, I don't know. You know, government agents have been hyping a lot of things, and frankly, Alex, anybody who calls up, me included, and says, I'm an insider in government and I have some top secret information for you, I don't take it. Because nobody in today's NSA can get away with talking to anybody on our side without getting caught.
So there are cases where whistleblowers speak out, but usually it's public to the Associated Press. The police chief, after I interviewed him, went public to the Associated Press. Allie Philippus about the military buying off the city for covert operations, and Thomas Sanchez of Kingsville. I've also been sent stuff by state police. I've been sent stuff by federal marshals. But it comes in unmarked mail, and then later I get a contact about it, and they get hopping mad. I got a call about the missing nukes, and I'm not going to say from who, but it was people that didn't know there were nukes hidden at Daesh, were freaked out and got concerned. So there are, but then they never would talk to me after. And I can't say any more to let out who it is, but a big thing happened over that. Enough for me to fear for my life. So I want to be clear, though. There are real whistleblowers, but somebody that constantly says, I'm a government agent, here, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, over the phone, over email, that's not real, because real stuff, it's when people are not going to be part of evil anymore. They blow the whistle like Snowden at great risk of themselves. Do you agree with what I just said, Joel?
And they get out. That's right. There's no way to stay a whistleblower and not get caught when you're inside government.
Well, I mean, I don't want to actually prohibit whistleblowers, but they found out who the state police guy was. And then were tried to fire him. He was senior. And I mean, I could say that because people know who it is on the inside. And then he was able to keep his job and basically get put on a desk for sending me that info.
Right. By the way, before we go on, I want to congratulate you, Alex, on outlasting Piers Morgan. You're still here and he's gone.
Well, not by any work of my own, but by God's good graces. But yeah, Piers Morgan, though, it shows the mindset of the globalists thinking that that would ever be popular.
Well, Americans just don't like somebody looking down their nose at them and being disgusted with our Second Amendment rights.
But see, there's a lot of good stuff happening. I see a lot of people wake, but like you said, it's either people are waking up or they're getting more into the darkness. I just don't know. It's going to get crazy.
Yeah, there's a great division taking place within our society. And, you know, the one hopeful thing I want to say about my scenario about this war coming in World War III, the hidden blessing of that comes through any war, even though there's a great deal of horror and terror in war, is that a separation of society happens and the good become better and the worst become worse and a lot of them die. And what's the best thing, though, is that the Lord will drive people out of the major corrupt metropolitan areas. There won't be any jobs left to hold them there. And I think he'll inspire them to relocate to places where they'll have more liberty, and then we can reconstitute liberty on a more regional and local basis, even though I don't think we're ever going to win it back on the national scene because of the power of this secret combination of power that we're dealing with.
Well, undoubtedly, they are animated by a spirit of evil and deception. Folks can get your fine book and the accompanying film that I produced, Strategic Relocation, at InfoWarsStore.com, and that supports all of our work. Invaluable information for you and your family. Joel, thanks for spending time with us.
My pleasure, Alex.
Nascent iodine is so important because it goes directly to the thyroid. It's not bonded to a salt, which means it doesn't have to be broken down, and it's the most usable form. It's what the body uses. It's what the body is designed to use. If you have low energy levels, if you have pains, if you have thyroid problems, if you don't feel up to par, well, they've proven now that the fluoride and a lack of iodine causes a decreased IQ because you have all this stuff that builds up inside your system and builds up and builds up. And that's why some people, when they start taking iodine, will have what's called a Herxheimer reaction or a detoxification reaction. But that's a good sign. That means you're detoxifying all that fluoride buildup, the mercury buildup in there, the bromine buildup in your system, and the chlorine buildup in your system. You don't want those things. All of those things have been proven as carcinogens. That's one of the reasons prostate cancer is on the rise too, is because prostate takes up iodine, and the men that are lacking iodine causes the prostate to become cystic and causes the prostate to swell and eventually leads to prostate cancer. There's been an extreme rise in polycystic ovarian disease, PCOS, with women, fibrocystic breast disease, because iodine is stored in the breast tissue, the ovaries, the prostate glands in men. It's utilized by every single cell in the body.
Why does this almost taste good compared to other iodine that tastes horrible? That's because it's real iodine, atomic form.
We wanted something that's going to go straight into the bloodstream and straight into the thyroid gland. We wanted to put it in a vegetable glycerin base. That's a USP kosher certified vegetable glycerin base. And that product is not tested on animals. It's vegan friendly. It's gluten free. It's GMO free.
Of all the things I've done, Nascent Iodine was just absolutely amazing. So we developed with Dr. Group a double strength, low price, InfoWarsLife.com, Survival Shield, the Atomic Nascent Iodine, available right now.